was worth the price of admission alone.
Turning to the Baseball Podcast. News, views, and opinions through Kiwi eyes.
They try to turn it, and they do turn it. On to first, a double play. Oh, my goodness.
Hey everyone, welcome along to another edition of the Turning to Podcast. We are part of the Baseball New Zealand media team, Dale Budge, Austin McMurchie for the last time. Austin, you've gone back to Canada as of
tomorrow, I think 10 or 11 a.m. flight.
Have you enjoyed your time here?
Oh, I've really enjoyed it. It's been great. I mean, it's nice to go from summer to summer, and then I'll be back to summer. And I just can't get enough baseball, so
and we're definitely going to have you back next summer, right?
Oh, I very much look forward to that.
No, we'll look forward to that as well. Right, let's get into a few of the talking points. Paul Goldschmidt, fan favourite here in New Zealand, fan favourite of Ian and myself, having spent so much of his career at the Arizona Diamondbacks. Got traded over the off-season. He's now with the St. Louis Cardinals, and he re-signs with them a 5-year deal, $130 million.
Yeah, taking it through 2024.
Massive move for the Cardinals, getting one of the best players in baseball over the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, he's just one of those just all-round great players. Not a pure power hitter, not a pure average hitter. He can do everything. Great defender. I think, as you say, a lot of Diamondbacks fans will really sad to see him go. I think some of you are hoping he'd re-sign after his 1 year. After the 1 year left on his contract came up, but the Cardinals, probably a very smart move for them, locked him up long term, which I think is a fairly fair deal. They're saying he's the highest paid player in St. Louis Cardinal history now.
They've had some fair players over the years too, you know. He'd be the best player they've had since Albert Pujols in his prime.
And Yadier Molina in his prime as well, I'd say probably. Probably. Yeah, and they've got a quite good team, I think, still, and he really just adds that one star power to the middle of the order. We were doing some fantasy baseball, just looking through like where he ranks in terms of first baseman in the league. It's still right up there, top three every one.
You can get him sort of after pick 15 in most fantasy drafts at the moment. I just think that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like he's
been
a perennial MVP contender. I know he hasn't won one, but he's been runner-up a bunch of times and been right in the mix.
It also says a lot that, again, he wanted to stay in St. Louis. Like, a lot of big names have chosen to stay in St. Louis. It says, a bit about the city, but also a lot about the organization, which is a fairly storied organization in the MLB.
Franchise, isn't it? I mean, every year they seem to find a way to contend.
Because they had Mark McGwire re-signed, they had Matt Holliday when he was in his prime re-signed, Jim Edmonds. So it says a lot about that team, and it's good for them going forward to have...
Mark McGwire, talk about this for a second. Mark McGwire, Big Mac.
Yeah.
You've never eaten a Big Mac. Seriously.
Yes, it's true.
You lived in the States for a large part of your life.
No, just a little part of my life.
Well, for a reasonable chunk of your life. Okay, you're next door in Canada. You've never had a Big Mac?
No, I haven't.
Why?
I don't know, just never gotten around to it. I like the chicken wraps.
You've never gotten around to it?
I don't go to McDonald's much.
After this, we're going to get a Big Mac. That's
my
farewell gift to you.
Oh, thank you. A taste of New Zealand.
we can edit this and chuck this on the podcast, maybe. I don't know. Right, let's have a look at some of the things that are happening back home. We'll focus on the MLB at the end when we preview the two Western, American League West and National League West, as we've done over the last few weeks. Completes our pre-season look at the major leagues. But on the home front, the Nationals, we're currently underway with the National Secondary Schools Championship taking place at Lord Ellesmere Park. The final's going to be tomorrow. They brought that forward because there is some rain forecast for later in the week, so they're going to try and get everything done by Wednesday. So I'll be at the ground announcing tomorrow. Looking forward to seeing that. The Under-13s tournament, that's the following weekend, so just over a week away, and there are a record number of teams from all around the country registered to play in that Under-13s. It's going to be one of the biggest tournaments we've ever had. Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
So let's look at the level of the Under-16s this year, which is a lot bigger with direct result from the previous Under-13 tournaments growing. And it was really great to see, and just another wave of those kids coming up.
And then the following weekend completes the National Championship season, I guess, with the Under-19s. That'll be the sort of farewell to summer here in this part of the world. Tuatara, some news in the ABL. It's this week the owners' meetings, general manager meetings taking place in Australia. Regan Wood, the newly appointed GM of the Auckland Tuatara, has been at those meetings. He arrives back in the country tomorrow, so I know he's learned a lot. We're going to have some exciting announcements around the coaching staff. I think the coaching staff has essentially all been signed up, and we should have that announcement for you tomorrow with a press release and whatnot. But yeah, certainly going to be a stellar cast that
Yeah.
has been assembled looking after the Auckland Tuatara and the ABL next year. I guess from this point on now we can see the fun stuff with the players starting to sign. Now
I know Regan's been having some fun when he was over in the US, and we'll try to talk to him in future episodes.
We'll sit him down and get the skinny on who he's spoken to, he's met with. I mean, it was a bit of a who's who cast of people that were in Arizona, at least anyway, and the spring training over there. So looking forward to that. But let's do the preview thing. So
first off, actually, what we said we kind of missed at the top is another big signing was Chris Sale re-signed with the Red Sox, and it kind of is a real big trickle-on effect from when Mike Trout kind of made the decision not to go to free agency, which I mean, with a few years out, but he really just. A lot of people saw how the market was going for free agents this year with Kimbrel still unsigned and how late it went for Harper and same with Machado. I think a lot of teams are seeing that and a lot of players are seeing that and really just going, you know what, if I kind of want to stay here to begin with, let's just work this out. And the Red Sox did that with Sale. He's going to be making quite a lot of money till 2024, his 35-year-old season. So he's going to be making upwards of $30 million for most of it, around 27.5. For most of those years, so that's another big deal.
So 6-year deals.
Yeah, and then another big player who hasn't been signed, and this one's a little less, is DeGrom, which is kind of an interesting one, given how much he means to the Mets. He really is that franchise. He's the only thing that keeps them holding on in the past few years. They look to have assembled a better team around him this year, so you'd think they'd want to lock him up now. And it's weird to see just them really holding back while a lot of other teams are going the complete opposite direction and really just re-signing everyone they can now.
Yeah, certainly interesting. I mean, Chris Sale, where would we rate Chris Sale in terms of the best pitchers going around these days? Hasn't won a Cy Young award, but has been there or thereabouts. So if we talk about Goldschmidt as being almost an MVP, Sale's been a candidate every year.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much, he's probably the best lefty in the league now. Lefty starter, Madison Bumgarner and Price used to have that mantle. Price has fallen off a fair bit recently. Bumgarner's still a very good pitcher, but I think Stale is definitely
This guy called Kershaw was pretty handy too.
Yes, again, he fell off a little last year, but you think he's going to come back this year?
Yeah, I'm banking on it. I've drafted him in most of my fantasy teams.
I missed out on him this year, so. But yeah, so I think he is just that main left-handed starter in the league. And yeah, he's been amazing for the Red Sox since they've had him. That was a pretty good trade it was Yohan Moncada at the time with the White Sox. And I think it's worked. Judging by the World Series ring, I'd say it's worked out for him as well.
Absolutely.
And I don't see any reason why he wouldn't have wanted to re-sign. So I think it was probably a pretty easy job for the Red Sox to convince him.
What about the two big name free agents that are still out there waiting for a contract?
Yeah.
Dallas Keuchel, he's been linked. I think Houston are just interested in bringing him back. The Yankees, he's certainly been linked there. There are a number of other contenders that have sort of been mentioned in fits and starts. What about where do you see that? How do you see that playing out? And Craig Kimbrel as well.
Yeah.
You know, doesn't
I find
he's
it
going back to Boston.
No, it really doesn't, which is interesting because I mean, I don't consider the bullpen all that elite compared to the rest of the team's makeup. The rest of the team is pretty darn good, and that bullpen is just a little bit below that. As you said with Keuchel, the Yankees are always a threat to sign literally any free agent as it is. So I could see him going there to bolster that rotation, especially with Severino going down early. But again, he really could go anywhere. The Craig Kimbrel one really surprises me. It's weird. It's almost like we've seen a big influx in actual decent closers in the past few years. You've seen a lot of those setup guys really make the step forward this year. We've seen like Will Smith and a lot of other players, who were looking, especially in spring, they were penciled in to be the closers for their team. So a lot of teams have, at this point, almost filled up their closer spots. So it's kind of
the Brewers, I think.
Yeah.
There's a bit of talk about the Brewers maybe being the locational landing spot.
Because Kimbrel would almost, at this point, have to pitch his way into that closing spot because he hasn't pitched all preseason. It's tough to just grab a guy and just say, and you're closing MLB games now after not pitching for 4
Even though
minutes.
he's been the best closer.
And I've no doubt he could do it, but it's just tough at that point. I mean, I'm a Braves fan as well as a Blue Jays fan. But, I mean, the Braves, praise raised. I know we really miss him there. But it just doesn't sound like the Braves are all that interested, which I don't really seem to get, seeing as their bullpen is a little spotty at times. They do have some good young pitchers, but none of them are really at the top elite level yet.
As much as we waited last year for some of the big free agents to sign late in the piece, JD Martinez was late in the piece, I don't think we've ever waited until the season's begun.
No.
And we're getting dangerously close to that happening with both of those guys.
Yeah, it's a very interesting situation. It's weird how the market's just shrunk for those pitchers. I think it is a little more of a thing for pitchers because you have those spots penciled in and you plan well ahead for those. So yeah, as you say, there are a few teams who, one, have the cap to sign either of those, and two, have that spot where they're just like, yeah, you're going to be my closer going forward. But, I mean, as we've seen in the past, closers it's a fickle commodity. Like, I'm surprised no one doesn't just want to just go, you know what, I'm going to take that storied closer who's done it for past decade, really.
Yeah, I wonder the longer it goes, whether it brings some of the smaller budget teams into play.
Yeah, take a 1 year deal or a 2 year deal.
Yeah, come in for a season.
Yep.
Right, let's preview those divisions we talked about out west. We've
Yep.
looked at the east, we've looked at the central divisions. Let's look at the west. So we'll start in the American League. The Houston Astros, highly favoured in that division. They've got competition from the Seattle Mariners, the Oakland A's, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, that horrible name, and the Texas Rangers.
Fun story coming out of Texas today.
Astros start strong favourites, right?
Yeah, it's got to be. It's got to be the Astros' favourites. I think Seattle have done a good job this offseason. I think they played quite well over in Japan, Tokyo Dome. They were playing the A's, which are another really solid team. The A's and the Rays in the East are kind of those teams with the smaller budgets who are just doing a good job putting together a good team. But it's hard for those guys to just have that one star power, and you kind of see that with both of them, where there's no bona fide superstar on either of those teams really right now.
What about the Angels? They've got a superstar.
They've got their superstar.
Else,
they've re-signed him. It'll be interesting to see how well Ohtani can hit this year because he's been shut down for pitching, and if he really can hit and protect Trout in that lineup, that makes a huge difference for him because he really is just, one being the best player in the league, but so much better than everyone else on that team. And that lineup is just, why would you pitch to him in any important situations? The pitching will be interesting, see what they have there, because they don't have Ohtani there. He was arguably a really underrated pitcher last year. In the games he started, he was very good.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see kind of how they develop, how they do their I think everything always comes back to Houston.
Tell us your little story about the Rangers today.
I think it's... I'll give them the benefit of the doubt because it was a split squad game. I'll say that in advance. But they did lose their AAA team yesterday in a exhibition spring training game. And this late in the season, most of your MLB guys are still there, and most of your minor leaguers have been sent down. So
we have some connections to Texas.
We do, I know. And probably it might have been Mincy helping out with that minor league team. Never know.
He's good. He is
good.
Yeah, we should have got him on.
We should have, yeah.
So let's do some tipping. We both think the Astros, the Astros are loaded. We haven't really talked about it because they're so loaded. But
Verlander is Verlander.
Yeah.
You've got Altuve, you've got Correa.
It's
a really good outfield and Springer.
Springer.
Yep.
Yeah, they are absolutely stacked. They run away with this division.
I'd say so. I think it really is kind of a fight for second and maybe staying in the what. But I do think I'm a little low on the Texas Rangers. I don't think they have a great team makeup. It's just a lot of... I think Joey Gallo really personifies that team.
Yeah.
Just all or nothing. We'll see how it goes. They've got a great closer in Leclerc.
Yes. I don't know. I'm interested to see how they progress because they kind of, to me, they are rebuilding. That's sort of rebuilding mode. So
they can only go up, is what you could say.
I think in some ways their identity is a little bit easier when you know you're a rebuilding franchise rather than a team that's, you look at what Mariners are kind of rebuilt. A's always rebuilding really, aren't they? Who do you like then out of those other teams? Who's the most likely, if someone is going to challenge the Astros or they have a terrible record?
I think the A's, because if they can put it together, I think they've got it. It's tough with Olsen going down in the second game of the season. So, the hand injury that looks like it'll be at least a month, if not more. That one's tough, although he was playing out of position at third, so they do have actually some more traditional third basemen like Mark Canha over there. But Chapman at first, just great player, really came into his own last year. I think pretty good pitching staff. I'm a really big fan, as a Blue Jays fan, of Estrada. He pitched amazingly for the Blue Jays. I think he'll do really well in the bigger ballpark in Oakland, as he was he was a huge pop fly pitcher. And has probably the best changeup in baseball, I'd say, one of the best. But for him, an issue in smaller parks is when you give up a lot of pop flies, it can be a little dangerous. So I think that'll really benefit him there. So I think they've got a very good team. It's just putting it together and one player really taking a big step forward.
Yeah, so you're going Astros with the A's to run second. I'm going Astros, and I like the Angels. I think Trout.
Really?
I can see them maybe scrapping and possibly making a playoff appearance. I'm not convinced that they're going to do anything, but they could
True enough.
They can make the postseason.
Yeah. And with Trout, anything's possible.
Right.
He can put a team on his back.
National League West, now, have we seen some movement in this division over the last few months? So
Dodgers are the
LA
Dodgers.
Dodgers, been the last two World Series and lost both of them.
Yep.
They start as the overwhelming favourites in the National League West. They will have their arch rivals, San Francisco Giants, the San Diego Padres, who have spent up, the Arizona Diamondbacks, and the Colorado Rockies. Again, Dodgers start clear favourites.
Yeah, Dodgers are clear favourites. I think the Giants are going to be better this year. I do really like the Giants. I kind of like what they did. I'm a huge Buster Posey fan. I think he's just a great player. Done literally everything you can in the game.
I liked him 3 or 4 years ago.
I still think he's a really good player, really good pitch caller, great with pitchers. I think his batting's a little come back a step, but it's still a good on-base guy. Diamondbacks and Rockies and Padres really are all there. It's really a fight for second. Again, another division where it's fight for second. I'd say any of those teams are in it.
The strange thing was, I think the Dodgers have declined.
I do
They've
agree.
lost.
I agree.
Sent some players away. They've probably some of the guys a little bit older.
It's a big
Seager
coming back will be interesting though, because with Machado, you knew what you had there. With Seager, it's a year off, which is tough for any player. Questions about his arm, how healthy it'll be, and coming back to hitting at a major league level after a full year and an off season off can be tough. So yeah, be interesting for the Dodgers.
So last year it was a dogfight for the Dodgers. They were out of first place for a long time. It was only the back end of the year they
really kind of screwed the Braves in the end. How low the Dodgers were.
I like the Rockies. I'm going with Dodgers to win the division, but I think the Rockies are the biggest challenge, and I think they can match them. That offense is stacked. Blackman's a great player. He didn't probably have as good a season as he could possibly have had.
They have
last
lost
year.
Arenado's
fantastic. Yeah, LeMahieu's a big loss, but they've got
a good guy in that
Dahl and guys like that coming through.
Yeah, and then there's Arenado, as you were saying.
Arenado's
so good.
Player.
So good.
Pitching wise,
Jermaine.
They found an ace and Jermaine. Trevor Story, we didn't talk about Trevor Story, he's a fantastic player.
Such a good player.
Yeah,
great hitting and power.
Good bullpen. Wade Davis and the lefty.
It is a very interesting division because you look at a lot of these teams and you're not sure if they're going to be really good or just fall off. Like there's a lot of maybes when you're making assumptions about these teams.
Let's talk about the Padres because there's a fair few maybes there. They got Manny Machado.
They've done this before a few years ago.
They have.
They went big. They got Craig Kimbrell at the time. They brought in Myers, who's still there. Credit to Myers, but they really went big a few years ago, and it did not pay off for them.
What do you suspect will happen this time?
They're definitely better than last year. I think Manny Machado is a huge guy to have there, who will be playing third, which I find interesting after he said he would not play third. But I guess money's money. But I think the most important thing is those rookies coming up. I think they'll make as much of a difference as Manny Machado will, just being plugged into that lineup, because they have plugged big stars in the lineup before, but they've just had holes in their roster in other spots. So I think it'll be really important for those minor leaguers coming up to play at a major league level. They really need that more filled out roster.
Right, let's talk about Diamondbacks. The one thing we haven't really covered off here. Where do you see Arizona this year? Without Goldschmidt?
Yeah, it's tough. He was always there for them.
Yeah, just named Greg Holland as their closer. Interesting. He had Archie Bradley, who finished the year. Arizona, any chance of contending?
I think there's always a chance. I still think it's not a terrible team. There are a lot worse teams in the MLB currently, but I think it'll be tough for them. I mean, they're your team, as you say. So, how are you feeling going into the season?
Yeah, I'm not as sold. But this is the thing with the Diamondbacks. Every year I say I'm not as sold when they seem to make a playoff run.
Yeah.
The years where you do fancy them and they make some moves, they tend to have disappointing campaigns. So maybe they do.
They really need Greinke to pitch as that ace.
Yeah, and he did that a couple of years ago. Did a couple of he's
always been good, but they need him to be that guy. He goes out every 5 days, and that's a win. They can pencil it as a win.
Yeah. They need other guys, Jake Lamb and guys like that, to step up and be the Jake Lamb 2 seasons ago. All right, let's do a prediction. So Dodgers to win the division?
I'd say so.
And who's runner-up?
It's a tough one for me.
You got to pick one.
I think Rockies, though. I agree with what you're saying. I think they're quite good. The Padres are just still such a... I don't know what to expect from the Padres. They could be really good.
There's upside with
them. But they fooled me before, so, so I'm not too sure.
All right, so we've got the Dodgers and then the Rockies. Right, we haven't actually done an overall
That's what I was going to
prediction.
say,
So we can weigh up all of our overall predictions across who's winning the World Series this year. Or who's playing who in the World Series.
That's a tough one. I don't love the Dodgers as much in the NL.
Mm-hmm.
Got some other really good teams. I think in the AL, I'd say Boston's still favorites, but Houston are just right there as always. I think it's those kind of contenders, and then the Yankees. It's kind of a tough one for Boston. They got to beat out through the regular season the Yankees, and I think that makes a big difference who gets the wild card and who gets that first division, because probably the other guy's going to be playing probably Houston or that Boston immediately in that first round. So I think it really matters who wins the AL East. That'll make a big difference. But I think Boston's would be my pick. Boston, but the bullpen does scare me a little bit.
So Boston in the American League, who's your National League champ?
I honestly don't know. I think it's quite wide open. Normally it's just easier to say the Dodgers, but I'm not feeling the Dodgers this year. I think that, as you said, they've lost 2 World Series in a row and have taken a little step back now. You look through, I think Milwaukee's still a very good team, especially if they add Kimbrel, which is still very much just rumors, but you add Kimbrel to that already pretty good bullpen. I think that would be a very hard team to beat. Small ball team, which I think is kind of cool. It would be small ball team versus the complete opposite in the Yankees or Red Sox. So that would be a fun World Series if they got there. But who are you feeling?
I don't think it's going to be the Blue Jays and the Braves, I'm afraid.
I think it's fair to say that. I think the Braves will make the playoffs, but I still don't think,
I agree. I think
they needed one more big addition to really take that step forward.
I'm going to say the Yankees are going to win the American League East and go on to win the American League pennant. And I'm liking the St. Louis Cardinals. So I think it's going to be an old school World Series.
Very.
Yankees v Cardinals. We haven't seen one of those for a fair while.
Oh, so you're really high on those Cardinals then?
Yeah, Cardinals are my default team because
they're always just there.
They're always good. There. Yeah, they've added a key piece. I think Goldschmidt is a big add for them. They've probably lacked that real elite star power the last couple of years. Really since Pujols left. I think the Cardinals are sneaky good. I think if you looked at it, Dodgers are probably a better all-round team. Yeah. But I just feel the Dodgers have had their time, and Cardinals by default.
It's got to take a lot out of a team going to 2 World Series in a row and losing both.
Texas Rangers.
Yeah. It's tough.
One strike away. Yeah.
It's a tough one.
There you go. That's our tip. So who'd you go? Boston v Milwaukee?
I think so. I don't feel great about that one, I'll be honest.
I've gone Yankees.
That bodes well though for the season, that I couldn't really pick 100%.
We'll see how we go in about 162 2 days and change from now. Best of luck.
Thank you very
much for everything you've done. I think I'm sure the listeners have enjoyed your input, and we look forward to seeing you next summer.
Yeah. Looking forward to another season of Tuatara baseball. Should be good, and just looking out at the field, QB should be very exciting.
Yeah, not too far away before they start working on that. Thanks everyone. We'll be back next week in some sort of format with another podcast, but without this guy. See you then.